Welcome to Day Zero Update for October 5th, 2025. I'm your host, Chris Aloji.
I'm Brandon Perkins.
And I'm Danra Victoria.
And yeah, we've got a big week of news as a bunch of things have happened. And on top of that, we'll talk about games that are coming out throughout the rest of the year. And boy, there's a lot. But yeah, before we get to the news and such, we'll talk about what we've been playing here, and I will get off. I have Eaten Dreams of Another. This is the newest game, one of two games they have coming out on October 10th. I'm working on a review at this moment because the embargo went up at 1 a.m. Pacific time on a Sunday, which conveniently means I did not get it done in time, but it's fine. It'll be out in a few days, so I'll have it done here shortly. But it's a really interesting game. It's from Bion, who's been working with them for almost 20 years at this point. He worked on the music for Pixel Junk Eden and kind of worked on things here and there to the point that he is now a creative director at the studio alongside Dylan Cuthbert. And this is sort of his game that he's directed that is, I guess, about the creative process. It's sort of a hard game to really describe what goes on in it because it is very much just a narrative game where you are controlling the man in pajamas is the name of the character, who seems to be an artist of some renown who seems to be in some sort of deep sleep or coma or something that continually kind of goes through these dream like kind of areas that I think has pacing problems early on to the degree that I think it's broken up into like 6 chapters, and maybe took me about 6 or 7 hours to beat it, and probably half of that was in the first 2 chapters because it is sort of laying out all these little story threads of different sequences or scenarios or stories that it's telling in different areas that it kind of goes through a bunch in a way that's a bit confusing. It was pretty confusing for a while trying to figure out like what exactly is going on here. And yeah, it's kind of all about the theme they repeat a few times is no creation without destruction, which means that it's trying to tell this story about creativity and people's lives and all this kind of stuff, where the only interaction you really have with anything is that you're holding guns and throwing grenades. And later on, I got a rocket launcher kind of thing that you're kind of shooting these buildings and trees and people and such to focus the almost kind of like cloud-like particles that are making up these objects and people and whatnot come into clear focus, and then you can interact with them, at least some of them, which just makes for a very confusing game initially, because this is not necessarily how I was expecting things to go. You almost get dings on certain things, like Power Wash Simulator style dings when you finish up certain items, and that is an indication that you can go up and stand next to it and you kind of hear the thoughts of that item. It'll be like this little village and the doors do this, and you go hear like the doors like talking about like, you know, I wonder what the people think when they see me, all this kind of stuff. Where I'm kind of just confused by it. When you go to the main menus, there is a section that collects all that stuff, so you can hear it again for all the different objects that do this. which is interesting. You get a lot of that kind of stuff. Like one of the story threads involves this piano that's in this town that an old man was playing, but then has passed away, I guess. And he would always play when this bell gets rung nearby, to which you kind of spend that thread kind of making your way towards where the bell tower is at and finding out that it has some weird thing going on with it. You eventually make your way through that, and that involves moles because it very much plays off of the dreamlike logic of this. Where you go down into the mole hill or the mole hole. That's down in this sewer kind of thing. It's real weird, kind of trying to parse out where all that stuff links together. Because when you're playing it, you're kind of doing this sequence for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then it kicks you back out to the main menu again, which you see the man in pajamas in this bed, with this guy that's sitting next to him that maybe is related to the very first sequence, which involves a guy who's in like a war zone, but who will not shoot his gun. And that whole thing is like kind of a tutorial thing, just teaching you the controls for it. But when it ends, it sort of moves over to the man in pajamas, and then this soldier ends up being like a main character in all of these streams. So much so that you pick up random objects around these areas, and when you go talk to him, you can turn in 3 of those things, either specific ones you want to turn in, or you can just let him pick, and he'll just randomly pick an item. And then that can give you more grenades to throw or refill your ammo for the rocket launcher. The other weapon that you have is sort of a classic like rifle type of weapon. That can just fire, I think it's like 100 rounds. You can just sit there and just fire off 100 bullets at the environment and watch the particles pull together into like a tree or a building or whatever it is. And you can reload that or whatever. It really doesn't matter what you do. I end up spending a lot of time just shooting things, as I wasn't sure if there was a reward or anything for shooting, like bringing everything into focus in the area, and then there really isn't. It seems like the kind of game where you kind of want to focus on the things that are going to advance the story, which are often characters. There's like a theme park thread of story stuff. There's an aquarium thread of story stuff that is going on in here, where the fish that are trying to get out of the aquarium kind of thing. There's a storyline that relates to the man in pajamas, who seems like has passed on in this story thread, and his son does not want to carry on his legacy of art making or whatever, but is trying to find a successor and determines that it shouldn't be a human. And so they try robots, and you go through meeting some of the robots, and that's all very fun and silly. But yeah, the story stuff kind of doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't really make a grand point, and maybe that's the whole point of it all, is it's just kind of creation is a messy thing. And that, creation and destruction are kind of two halves of the same whole on this thing. They do talk a lot about destruction creates life and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a weird whole thing, and it was interesting playing over the past week where I've been working a ton and not getting a ton of sleep, so the dreamlike nature of this world had me nodding off a number of times. I was like, okay, this is really good, like dreamlike vibes that this game is putting off, because it's very much making me nod off here, and where I nod off for a few seconds and like wake back up, and then I'm running into a wall kind of thing. It's like, okay, this has got good vibes going on. I don't know what the appeal of this game is outside of people that are interested in like story narrative games that have interesting ways of going about that. that aren't just like a visual novel or
Mm.
a narrative adventure game kind of thing. This has kind of got some things going on here. It has some silly moments to it because like the two main characters of the theme park thing. There's like a businessman and a dude in a clown outfit, and he gets slapped in the face multiple times with the, the wig and the nose coming off of his face.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find the nature of who that person is, and that makes it even more silly. But you have a number of like boss fights to this game where you kind of that feels like it's often centered around the theme park stuff, but it happens in a number of the other areas where the aura of a particularly noteworthy item, like a Ferris wheel or a piano or whatever it is, start zooming around the area, and you're kind of shooting at it, particularly when it has like an orange thing on it. It's like a weak point. And once you finish that, it goes back in and kind of activates whatever next story thing is. It's real just kind of weird how it doesn't feel super cohesive for the way everything's going on here, which maybe is because it's, a dream thing where it's not trying to be logical about everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing that's tough about trying to figure out where I come out on this game. I find it to be pretty interesting in the way that it does a lot of its story stuff and handles the gameplay, which like it controls pretty decently for a shooter thing where you're not really shooting anything in particular. You're just like firing off guns because I'm guessing that's some sort of commentary on the typical way that people, the type of games that people typically play, and all that. So yeah, it's a weird little game. I'm gonna be writing up the review at some point here tonight and tomorrow and trying to figure out where I'm standing on this. But yeah, it's real interesting and it's real weird. And it was also one of those rare PlayStation games I've reviewed where I'm unlocking trophies, but I cannot look at a trophy list. So I'm sitting here playing and constantly going back to the main screen to see like what the percentage is, was saying how far I'm into it, kind of thing. And it's like it has 6 chapters because it went up to like 16% and 33%. So I'm like, okay, there's probably 6 main chapters, but it took like 3 hours or so to get through the first 2. So I'm like, is this going to be like a 10-hour game or something? And the last like 2 or 3 chapters were like in an hour and a half. So it kind of very much front loads it in a way, and as it's kicking you back out to the main menu every time to start the next thing, it kind of just feels like a very weirdly put together game. If it sounds very weird the way I'm describing it, it's very weird when I'm playing it. Because I'm like, I kind of just would like it to continue on to the next thing it has to say, versus it feeling like it's me starting over and over again. So the trophies ended up being the thing that kind of gave me a better idea of how I was progressing through it. Because you get the trophy pop up and you hit the button and it's like, oh, you got 60% of the trophies. Like, okay, I'm making some good progress here. Because it felt like the one chapter was like 2 hours of doing these 5-minute segments, and I felt like I was kind of going out of my mind, trying to like, when is this going to get to the next section? And they have a specific thing that happens when you get to the next chapter, where you essentially go through a door for that. So yeah, I kind of, and it doesn't let you like pause during like cutscene dialogue stuff. Which also kind of added to the feeling of like, I don't know how quickly this is progressing in a way. And you can fart around in it. Because like, as I said, there's a list of, in the main menu where you can see like all the things you've interacted with or listened to its, dialogue. And it has like at least 170 items in it. And I've Uh, just to tell you kind of the weirdness of it. But the first number I have is 2, so I missed the first item that I could have interacted with, and it's like who knows what the hell that was. So yeah, it's one of those games that's pretty interesting, and it fits Bion's vibe because he's a visual artist who's done music and painting and all that kind of stuff over the years. So this is very much feels in line with that, but I don't think it's necessarily a great narrative thing. Um, in how disjointed it kind of feels, but I'll probably put that better together better as a review, because right now it's just kind of disjointed thoughts. But yeah, that's Dreams of Another. It's out this week. I'm not sure what the price is, but yeah, not being able to see the trophy list was just kind of killing me, because you get a lot of them are just for progressing things, and it felt like there were like 30 of those, and then some were just for like you collected 10 trinkets and 30 trinkets and 50 trinkets, that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't know what it's keeping track of and whatever's going on. There's maybe story decisions in this that I'm not 100% sure on. There's like some scenarios where it's like, oh, you got to protect these things, and like I apparently didn't do any of that because they all got taken away. So I don't know if that changed the story at all, but it does. Once I beat it, the main menu has like a Start Plus or Dream Plus on it or whatever. So I'm like, this is like a new game plus thing. So I'm probably gonna start that and see what the hell that is, because that would be interesting to see versus just starting it over again and just being like, I'll try and do other stuff in this. But yeah, that's
not being able to see trophies with an unreleased PlayStation game is a pretty common thing, actually. So I get it.
Especially when it's like, I don't know how this is broken up into chunks, like what sort of progression it's keeping track of, versus I'm not sure what else I was playing recently that I felt like that didn't have the issue. Like Baby Steps show the whole list, so I was like, I didn't look at it for spoilers reasons, but it was like 13 things, and it was pretty funny that I didn't know. Even if I looked at it, I didn't necessarily know what it was spoiling. They wrote things vaguely enough to be recognizable once you knew what it was talking about, but also not to spoil what was going on. But yeah, so there's Dreams of Another. I'm gonna be working on that one. But yeah, let's see. Consume Me. I got this on Steam. It's I think only on Steam. It might be on itch, but I think it was also one of those games that got de-indexed for some reason when they had all that stuff going on. So, but this is an autobiographical game about the main developer Jenny, who is was in is Asian. So she grew up in a household with a mom who is very judgy and sometimes bossy and that kind of thing, with the way she is trying to correct uh, behavioral patterns she sees. And particularly Jenny here is very lazy, and at least at the beginning of the game, kind of just eats whatever she feels like. So she pretty quickly gets scolding from her mom, being like, "You see how much you're eating? That's not a normal thing. You're gonna get fat, and who's gonna marry you if you're fat?" Kind of thing. And so much kind of fucks her up that she decides to go on a diet, and then gets an eating disorder as a result. And so yeah, this is a game that is very uh, jokey about that stuff, but also shows it in an honest way with how it goes. It's more that the character here, Jenny, is very much not willing to take things as seriously as they should be, but also when it comes to this eating disorders, very much taking it seriously in a way that's very problematic for her. Because and they do show this as like a prompt when you start the game, that they don't show weight on the scale that she gets on, sort of thumbs up or thumbs down, and they don't show anything in terms of calories. for food. It's all in bites, so they try to obscure that stuff enough so that it's not like a guide for losing weight or anything outside of the basic concept of watching what you're eating and exercising and all that. Will help you out on that stuff. But she goes overboard where she sets a limit of 500 bites a day to reach these weight loss goals that she has. And again, she doesn't have a specific weight to get to. She just feels she needs to lose weight, even though she looks fine. Um, because she goes to the mirror, and the evil, bossy girl in the mirror yells at her about, you know, needing to lose weight and going to a party and like, oh, you got to get uh, in shape for that, and even so, she's joking with her. She's like telling you to do chores and this kind of stuff, and she's like, I can't remember all that. Why don't you make a list? And then it adds to your quest list essentially. Um, Both the main quest list and the side quest list. Um, it fills it out with a bunch of stuff, and yeah, in a Persona style fashion, you're kind of choosing what to do with the free periods you get. Um, and as you're going through the day, it's maybe like a handful of things. You pick an outfit to get when you get dressed, which can boost some of your stats. Which there's attention, there's energy, and there's guts. Um, so you might have a day where you have a goal that's like get to bed with at least 50% energy 3 times during the week, and it's like, okay, well, take the shirt that is going to boost my energy to kind of help that out with. Then you get to your lunch, which is the one meal you eat. You're filling out this grid based plate with sort of Tetris shaped food objects that you can place on it. Rotate around and all that, and that ends when you have no more uh, food that can fit in any of the spots that are available. And if you don't fill up the hunger spots, that eats at your guts stat. Um, and early on, you get this thing where the dog shows up, and you can give it one of the 3 food items you have to put on your plate. So you can be like, "Oh, this cookie is way too high in bites." Give it to the dog; it'll disappear for a while, and you might be able to get 2 of those per lunch. But yeah, you're trying to fill up your plate enough while still being under your bites. But even if you go over, it's not the end of the world because you can, during your free period, do some exercise that can take some of those bites off. Um, but yeah, you might also have story stuff where your mom's like yelling at you, like, you need to study. And so you need to go get a study guide or something like that to do your studying. Um, it luckily has a bunch of things that don't count on the free periods. So they give you numbers like 1 or 2 usually. That'll go for 1 free period or 2. But going to the shop to buy snacks and books and makeup and whatnot is cost 0. As well as you get some other things where like there's a period where it's like, oh, you want to try practicing in the makeup, and there's a thing where you just go to the store and use the free makeup for your practice kind of thing versus paying for it every time. But you get money for your chores and some other things to spend on that. And yeah, it's got a lot of stuff going on. A little bit of WarioWare because there's mini games for everything that's going on here. The reading mini game is pretty fun, as you're basically directing her attention towards a book that's spinning around you, and her head spinning as well, and you kind of get it locked on, and you kind of sit there and hit the button to kind of essentially rotate it back and forth to keep it on there, focus kind of thing, as like a an ADHD kind of mini game. The exercise is very silly, where you're just moving the head around and hoping the arms flop into these little spots. That counts as an exercise thing, which seems very much like a what somebody might think exercise is that hasn't done it before, really. Um, there's fun little mini games for the chores and all that. So yeah, for a game that's about a very serious subject, it's a very fun game and a very kind of silly game at times. But yeah, it's well worth checking out. And the main dev Jenny has been posting, like, does TikToks every day of like, I'm gonna post a video every day until my game sells 1 million copies. She finds dumb little things to think about. At one point, she like uses an app to age her face, be like, I've been waiting for years, kind of thing. So yeah, she's got a good sense of humor about this. So yeah, that's one I recommend checking out if you want a game that's about a very dark subject, but also does it in a lighthearted way. So I've gotten through 2 big periods of the game. I'm working on the third one, so about a few hours in. So there's that. Let's see. I've been playing more Deep Rock Galactic Survivor now that's hit 1.0 in the last couple of weeks. Had some good successful runs as I basically started a new save. Because this update, the 1.0 update, essentially added the save slot system so that they put your early access save in its own slot, and then you can start over if you want or continue from where you left off. I just decided to start over just to see how that stuff went. And yeah, the big stuff they've added, there's a new mode in this that is basically like an escort kind of style mode where you're escorting a big digging machine to do a lot of that stuff for you, and you help protect it from enemies that are swarming at you. I've not done that one yet because I'm still early in the game. They've also had a bunch of other difficulty modifier things to the main mode that I'm still working my way through, but I've unlocked a second dwarf, and the nice thing is that they let the loot, the gear that they have now, where I get like 2 pieces of loot usually out of every successful run. That stuff transfers over to the new characters, even if they're not leveled up, so they don't level gate that stuff as far as I've seen, so that's good. It kind of lets you get some stat boosts early on before that character gets upgraded, and they have the kind of meta progression stuff you expect out of these kind of Vampire Survivors games. For that, and yeah, been playing it on Steam Deck and it runs really well, so enjoying that a lot. And last one I've been playing is Hades 2, which I basically just started. I think I'm still on the first run as I started a new save. So I'm still working on that. Or no, I finished that first run, and you kind of end up back at the base, and I'm about to start a second run, so really can't say much about anything that's new that's been added to it or anything yet. Though I think one of the things they changed from the early parts of early access is that you used to have to have an item to get certain kind of materials mined out of your run, and you wouldn't be able to collect certain other materials. Now I believe they just let you collect any of it. They don't have that kind of weird progression gating on materials, which seems like a very smart move. I remember that being like, that's weird that you can only collect like one type of material per run of the stuff that isn't dropped by enemies. But yeah, that's Hades 2. I'm looking forward to putting some more time into it, but also there's so much coming out. I don't know how I'm going to fit time in for that, but yeah, that's Hades 2, and that's been pretty much what I've been playing. So how about you, Brandon?
Well, as for me, there is a secret game that I've been playing I can't talk about, so I will just leave it at that. But as far as the stuff I can talk about that I have been playing, I've been taking advantage of my PS Plus subscription, and I have started playing Far Cry 6. Which, I know Danra played this and reviewed it back when it released. And, so far, it's a Far Cry game. It's an Ubisoft game. You kind of know what that means. And in this case, the Far Cry formula is pretty solid. And, a lot of times could be very fun, and Far Cry 6 so far is pretty fun, but you can definitely see like the usual sort of Ubisoft jank here and there. But it's basically like it's like a lot of the Far Cry games. It takes place in a fictional country. In this case, it's a small Caribbean nation called Yara, which is meant to sort of be a stand-in for Cuba, at least a little bit, but not quite. Which has been ruled by this dictator by the name of Anton Castillo, who is supposed to be like Fidel Castro, but again, not quite. Who is essentially reintroducing slavery to his country because the tobacco that grows on this island, for whatever reason, and they never, so far they haven't really explained why, it produces this weird chemical that is good at treating cancer, and so he's trying to use it to essentially rebuild the country's economy because they've gone through like a bunch of bullshit starting all the way back in the 60s and going forward. And you're playing a person who's like a former military person who's getting ready to get on a refugee boat with their friends and make it to Miami. And shortly after the trip starts, Castillo himself shows up, boards the boat, and turns out that his son Diego was actually on the ship trying to sneak out of the country, which means he then gets his son, retrieves him, and then has his Navy shell the boat. You end up waking up coincidentally on the island that is essentially the headquarters for one of the primary resistance groups in the country, Libertad, which is led by the highly idealistic Clara. And that's essentially your job in the game. Is you're trying to more or less unite all the various revolutionary factions together so that you can eventually march on Yara's capital and depose Castillo himself. That's pretty much it. I mean, you also get an alligator friend named Wapo who will go around and eat people for you, which is definitely cool. And, there's other animal friends you'll come across like Chorizo, who's a little puppy dog who is paraplegic, so he's got little wheelies on his hind legs and all that stuff. It's so far, yeah, it's pretty fun. But it is still like the standard Far Cry experience, which can be hit or miss depending on what type of story it's telling. And the other game I had been
that was my first. No, I was just going to say that was my first and only Far Cry, so I thought it was fun for what it was.
Yeah. But yeah, and the other game is I played and I beat Intelligence Cube, which I did not know was a game you could actually beat, but I beat it. It's like 9 levels deep. And let me tell you, the later part, like the later half of that game, like the difficulty spikes like exponentially compared to the first few levels. To remind people sort of how the game works is, you're playing this little dude running around on this huge platform that's made up of cubes, and there's these rows of cubes that are rolling towards you, and you have to try and clear all of the cubes that you can clear while avoiding the quote-unquote forbidden cubes in order to keep the game going and to score. Every time there's like 3 types of cubes. There's the regular cubes. There's the favored cubes, which are these green cubes that have like this explosive effect that you can set once you clear them, where it'll essentially take down everything in like a 3x3 grid. And then there's the forbidden cubes. That's the black cubes, and you are not supposed to clear those because if you do, one of the rows of cubes that make up the platform you're rolling around on will collapse. And as you go through it, and once you end up clearing like a whole level of cubes, and it then decides it needs to start rolling some more towards you, it'll like have this ripple effect that'll like push you towards the end of the platform. And if there are too many lines of cubes that have collapsed, it'll literally push you off the platform and the game ends. And that usually happens either by, like I said, clearing the black cubes, the forbidden cubes, or if you let too many of the regular cubes roll off the edge without clearing them. And like by the latter half of that game, it's like impossible, almost impossible to get like a perfect. Like legitimately, it's meant to almost be impossible. And not only that, but like the various like patterns that the forbidden cubes start showing up, because originally it starts out with like maybe 3 rows coming towards you. By the end of the game, you're getting like 6 or 7 that are rolling towards you. And they're usually like the forbidden cubes are like made up into like these passages and chambers and these weird sort of symmetrical formations where it becomes increasingly more and more difficult to actually clear the ones you need to clear without accidentally hitting any of the forbidden cubes. But I managed to get to the end and finish the game. Obviously, by like the last 3 levels, it is basically impossible to get a perfect, like at all. So you're essentially just trying to get as many of the cubes you need to get rid of done as possible and keeping the losses to a minimum. But I finally got it and I beat it. And let me just say, I can absolutely understand why this game ended up being a cult hit back when it premiered on the PlayStation back in the day, because it really was a game that got its hooks into me pretty quickly. And I'm kind of surprised that they haven't tried to like bring this back or like make a sequel or remake it or anything like that, because considering like modern gaming now, especially the way indie gaming is going, they absolutely could make a sequel or a spiritual successor to this game, and it would make just a ton of money. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. So Danner, what about you?
Yeah, so last weekend I was not here, but it wasn't because of TGS, although I will talk about TGS. I was in Texas, but yeah, even though I was not at Tokyo Game Show, I got invited over to the Capcom HQ over in San Francisco to play their TGS lineup. So I'll go ahead and talk about that for a little bit. The first thing that I played was the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. For those of you that are not familiar, they're pretty much the DS version of what the Mega Man Battle Network games were on the Game Boy Advance. The main difference, aside from being on DS, is the fact that the battle system was pretty much the same, except it took place over the shoulder. So instead of the 6x3, it was 3x6, and you also can't move forward. Whereas in the Mega Man Battle Network games, you could move left and right, pretty much wherever you wanted on your own side. So those would be the main differences there. To be honest, I have not played any of those before. So like the main thing I wanted to do was to just like try out some of the battles. And that's what I did. So yeah, the game was available on the Switch, and that's what I played it on. And yeah, this game is pretty much going to be available everywhere. You know, this is not like the most hyped thing that Capcom has done, obviously, but also during that time, you got to remember that Capcom was pretty much a shell of like what they are now. They've always had Mega Man, they've always had Resident Evil, but during that generation, they were just not cooking, and Battle Network was one of the few things that was, even though I wouldn't say it's like the best Mega Man thing there was. But during that age, it was also very much against like Pokemon because it had its own anime and things like that. So that was definitely cool to experience for a few minutes. The other thing that I played was Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. This was the first demo for the game ever. So yeah, I was one of the first people to play it. And if you're not familiar with Monster Hunter Stories, it's pretty much a JRPG in the Monster Hunter world. The game is very reminiscent of like Breath of the Wild or games of that nature, just because of its visual style. And it was pretty cool to try out. They had both the PS5 and Switch 2 versions there. And just to stay on the Switch, I played the Switch 2 version. And yeah, I was pretty impressed with how it felt. The battle system is turn-based, and there is a rock, paper, scissors component to it that I thought was rather interesting. So that was pretty cool. Traversal was nice. You can use different monsters to climb or glide your way through the different environments. And yeah, I thought it was really enjoyable. I don't know if this is a game that I'll want to play on day one, but as far as what's as far as what it represents, it's definitely solid. I've never played through the first two, although I did play them both. I just never actually finished it. And the main thing that I thought they lacked was they didn't really feel very Monster Hunter as far as complexity. And while this game is a little bit more complex, what really stands out to me was the battle system. So yeah, it'll depend on like the competition that comes out during the time, because 2026 is going to be pretty stacked. But yeah, that was absolutely enjoyable to play as well. And then the last thing I played, or not the last thing, but the next thing I played was Pragmata. The embargo for this lifted actually last Sunday, so I'm not actually sure why this one had to be delayed a little bit. But yeah, this was my third time playing Pragmata, so I'm pretty, like, I'm not gonna say I'm good at it, but I'm pretty seasoned into what the gameplay is now. If you guys haven't seen any of the Pragmata demos or videos, basically it's a third-person shooter, but you can't just plainly shoot out whatever you want. It'll cause no damage, so you actually have to hack them first. And whenever you take out your gun and aim it, a grid will show up where you have to sort of like solve this mini game puzzle to get from the beginning to end. And the puzzle is really reminiscent to games like BioShock. Like the hacking kind of works that way. And yeah, it's pretty quick. So I was already used to it, but the main thing the guys told me was that this was a harder demo. The enemies would be more aggressive, and the main thing that they wanted to show in this one was the central hub. And in this central hub, you can do things like talk to the little girl that's with you. You can also upgrade your weapons and whatnot. So entrances to the hub will show up in various parts of the level, and it really does a good job of really showing what Pragmata might actually be. And I'm thinking it's going to be a third-person action game that kind of feels like a roguelite, in the sense where you want to get as far as possible and then use these save points whenever you can to continually upgrade yourself. And yeah, if it ends up being like that, I definitely see myself enjoying it. And this has pretty much shot to near the top of my 2026 most wanted list. Whenever I play it, I'm even more impressed. The main thing, though, was that this build was on the PS5 Pro, and I don't have one of those. So eventually, when I do get my hands on it, I'm not going to be able to see it in that amount of quality. And then the last thing I played when I was there was the Monster Hunter Wilds Final Fantasy XIV collab. I'm not sure if this is actually out yet, but the main thing that they had us try was the boss battle. You end up fighting this Omega thing, Omega Planetus, I think it's pronounced. And yeah, it was a tough fight. Like, I don't remember ever fighting a robot in Monster Hunter. And yeah, like, we had 2 tries, including with one of the devs, and we died both times. So that's how difficult it was. But it was really cool seeing the Final Fantasy charm that was here. Like, the Sacrets, I don't know if you guys played Monster Hunter Wilds yet, but the Sacrets that you mount on were actually going to be replaced by Chocobos, and when you ride the Chocobos, it'll have their music. There were cactuars around the battlefield where whenever you touch them, they actually cause a whole bunch of damage to the enemies that are there with their needles. It was definitely a cool thing to experience. I don't know if this is going to make me jump back into Monster Hunter, primarily because in order to fight this monster, you have to be at a certain level, which I am. I don't believe I'm at. But yeah, it was definitely fun to check out, and because it was hard, and my main thing with this Monster Hunter was that it really wasn't that hard at all. Like, the fact that I beat it, in my opinion, is an accomplishment. So yeah, like, people who have been looking for a challenge in Monster Hunter should definitely find it here. As for what I'm actually playing, I just finished Dear Me I Was when I was on the plane. This game was revealed during the Arc System Works showcase that they had a few months ago, and the main reason why it was interesting / weird was the fact that, you know, when you think of Arc System Works, you don't think of a game like Dear Me I Was. You think of action games, you think of fighting games, you think of anime games. Dear Me I Was is actually a visual novel. It was developed by, or it's headed by the guy who did Another Code for the Switch, or Recollection, actually. And he's also known for Hotel Dusk and games like that. But this one is actually, I mean, in his words, meant for women. Obviously, like, as someone who's not a woman, I wouldn't be able to resonate in that regard. But this game is pretty cool in the sense where you get to experience a girl's life from adolescence to old age. And here you'll see her go things like joy, grief, excitement, despair, things like that. And the thing about this game is that it's only 45 minutes. I was able to complete this on the plane rather quickly. And the thing is, this is an $8 game, and while I recommend it, I don't believe it should be worth $8. I think it would be a sweet spot at around 5. And the reason being is because there really isn't much gameplay at all. If you were to play it and download it, I would recommend that you use a touchscreen because there really isn't much of a reason to press buttons here, and when you do, it's pretty minimal. I liken it to a game like Florence, but even Florence had more gameplay-wise going on here. That being said, it's a really good experience, and I totally recommend it. It's just $8 is maybe asking a little much. And the other weird thing is that it's a Switch 2 exclusive. I think it was actually just announced on Switch a few days ago, and I don't really understand why this is a Nintendo exclusive, aside from maybe Nintendo spending the money to do that. But this should be on everything. I mean, it might as well be a DVD game too, because that's how simple the gameplay was. Moving on, I've also been playing Digimon Story Time Stranger. I did do a review in progress. I'm not finished with it yet. That's why I haven't done the full review yet. And I'm about like 20 hours in, and I'm really enjoying it. This is actually my first Digimon game. All of my Digimon knowledge is based on the first 2 seasons of the anime, but you can still play this without having any knowledge at all. So far it's been pretty cool. You use either a male or female from the Automas unit who tries to like study things happening in the world and the digital world. So that was pretty cool. A lot of the stuff in the game is based on mythology. And you'll meet a lot of different Digimon as a result. And it was pretty weird in the sense where like I'm used to Digimon just being cute little critters, but a lot of them look like humanoids, and I was like definitely surprised by that because like some even had like full-on faces where I was used to humanoid Digimon in the anime, but they all look like some form of robot or whatever it may be. But yeah, it uses a turn-based battle system and typical like Japanese menu kind of stuff. Like honestly, it feels like a turn-based Tales game, and that's Bandai Namco's bread and butter. But yeah, it's doing really well right now, and it's probably like the best Digimon game available, so that's pretty cool. Really enjoying it. And then the last thing I'm playing is Lego Party. I played a little bit of it yesterday, and Lego Party, it's really just a rip off of Mario Party, and I say that like in the most positive way possible. Like it's such a rip off of Mario Party that I think it actually might be better. It's funnier in my opinion. I played it a little bit with my girlfriend, and she didn't particularly enjoy it. And I think it's just because like she just prefers Mario and whatever it may be. But yeah, like it's basically the same thing, with the only difference being each turn actually starts with a mini game versus a dice roll. And instead of using the dice, you like press X on a random number generator and end up choosing whatever you have to be. But the reason why I like it better than Mario Party is one, it's humor. There are announcers as you play the game, and if you've watched like Pitch Perfect, they kind of have that brand of humor. They're just making fun of everything you do. But at the same time, for example, in order to win a game, like in Mario Party, you want to buy stars, right? In Lego Party, you want to buy golden bricks, and they can cost a random amount of Lego studs. That's their currency, and yeah, you win those through mini games or various things on the board. The other difference is that in Mario Party, if you remember, the last 5 turns would always like double the amount of coins you get or double the amount of coins you lose, or they'll change a few spaces. It's the same thing here, except they also change things up on the last turn, because in Mario Party, if you're on the last turn, you can land on spaces that end up being useless. On the last turn in Lego Party, there are no useless spaces. They turn anything that otherwise might be useless into a chance space. And if you've played Mario Party, you know what a chance space is. This is where all the BS is. This is where you can go from first to worst automatically. And they double down on that in this game. So, it results in all sorts of hilarity. And then the fact that you have the announcers there just feels like you're being absolutely trolled. So if Mario Party causes friendships to end, Lego Party causes those friendships to end, and you just become enemies from there, because it's just total chaos in that regard. And I love that about it. The mini games are pretty cool too. They literally follow the Mario Party formula of allowing you to practice it, before you start and things like that. So, whether or not you're playing with a newbie or someone who hasn't played before, it's definitely a cool experience to do. And then as for characters, the possibilities are endless. You have like I think 36 characters in the game straight up, and you can unlock more as you go because it's Lego. You can customize everything, and it's pretty cool in that regard. And I think the game retails for like $40, and it's on everything, so it's definitely an easy stocking stuffer that might even be cheaper as we get closer to the holidays. But I totally recommend it. So when I have my review up, it'll definitely be a higher rating. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. And yeah, I wanted to add one more thing I forgot to add to my list. I played the Power Wash Simulator 2 demo that came out, which I liked a lot. It is fairly similar to the first game. It's basically the same general premise here. But in the wake of the events of the first game, your power washer dude has essentially spent all their money to buy a big business building to work out of. So that justifies why, you don't have all the money that the broken economy of the first game gets you at a certain point. And so this just has what I assume are the first two jobs. There's a big moving van that works with one of the antique shops that you see ads for in one of the last free jobs that they put in the first game. So you get a little bit of story from that. They don't seem to show story every 20% you complete on a job. Or maybe it's for this demo they don't show that. I think it was the latter parts of the percentage you started getting some text from the person that you're involved with there. But yeah, once you get the van done, you unlock the ability to take in furniture because the person who runs that antique store is like, oh yeah, I'll give you a heads up if there's some stuff that I have available that's probably not going to sell to other people, and so you get that. In this demo, you can unlock I think like 2 rugs and a couch, all of which you have to wash first before you use it. But yeah, you can put those in your first floor. I don't think they can go onto the second floor little office area because I tried taking them up there and it just hovers above the ground in a weird way compared to the first floor. But yeah, the game runs pretty well. I had to turn some things off, so I think they've definitely improved the visuals a bit. But they do have new controls, which they're calling modern, which is hilarious, and calling the controls that were what they were in the first game are called classic, which is hilarious for a game that's 3 years old. To make that be like, oh, these are the classic controls. But yeah, they don't seem to have the thing that tells you like what the dirt is when you hover the cursor over it. But yeah, they still have most everything else is largely the same. The big thing now is you can go into the big list of all the different things that need to be cleaned for that job, and you can highlight multiple things and have it show you exactly where those are at. It won't show you exactly where the dirt is, but you just kind of have to look at the item as it's sort of flashing and see exactly where the full section that is. But yeah, they do have more involved areas like this truck you clean. The back door is sort of open for the most part, so you do get to have to clean the outside and the inside of this truck, which is pretty cool. And they don't have any of the new tools for getting around these stages in these first 2 areas, which I assume is because they're not really needed. The scissor lift or that like wall thing, I forget what it's called. It's like an abseilus or something. They don't have those in there, but for the currency, if you complete both of them, you can get the floor scrubber, which is the other new thing. I didn't get that until after I beat them both, or finished both jobs. But it's pretty neat. For the default area, it's not super long or anything. It doesn't stretch too far, but it does change the head of the scrubber so it can work on walls and ceilings and whatnot as needed. So it's pretty useful item. The thing that I saw that was pretty cool is they have a new adjustable spray nozzle that you essentially use your mouse wheel to widen or shorten it as needed. So you don't necessarily have to switch between the different nozzles. Try to find one that works, for the size you want. You can kind of just scroll it to make it fit the way you want it, which works really well and is like a nice little like game changer kind of thing. But yeah, the second area is sort of the first of the multi-story jobs that they have here. The story behind it is it's like a bench that people thought was just a bench, but it's actually a public toilet that once you clean the bench part of it, it then goes up, pulls up out of the ground and reveals the the outer part of this, and then you clean that, and the door opens up and you clean the inside. Story wise, they try to claim this is like a thing that was installed like 20 years ago, and it's way too fancy looking to be that old, but who knows? But that works out pretty well. And yeah, I used a bit of the soap, which is the new thing. In the first game they had soap, but it was more just a like slightly better spray. Whereas here you kind of spray the soap on a surface that is dirty and it clings to it and kind of stays in place, and then you can wash it off more easily than you may need for, or that the dirt may wash off without it. That is a nice change for this game. So yeah, that's two jobs. You kind of go back to your base after each one, or it offers the option to just go to the next one if you want. But I like going back to see what other stuff unlocked. You get currency and you get points out of this. The currency is used for, sprayer upgrades and such, and the points are used for cosmetic stuff. So that's for your suit stuff, which they break up into 4 or 5 pieces. I guess the helmet, the suit, the gloves, and the shoes are all separate. So you can mix and match however you want for whatever look you're going for. But yeah, they got a bunch of that stuff, and I think there's cosmetics for the sprayer itself. So
yeah,
and the van. And I believe the van stuff it wasn't in this demo, but it gets elaborate enough that it kind of essentially changes the branding on the side of the van, depending on what it looks like. So there's a little more to that, but yeah, that demo's out now on Steam, and they have said they put that out because they didn't have a date to announce yet, because they're still waiting for platforms to all be gold. And I believe they have done that because I think Friday they announced that they're going to have interesting news to announce this week. So I assume it's going to be a date, and I can see that being pretty soon. So I am excited for that.
Yeah, that game is pretty polished, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a date. And yeah, hopefully it's soon, because I don't know. I don't want to wait until next year for that one.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. That was it. But yeah, that's it for the talking stuff. Let's get to the news. First up here, Marvel Cosmic Invasion has a demo out now on Steam, so you can check that out. Looks like they have 2 levels to play with 9 of the heroes. So yeah, you can check it out. There's local and co-op play, local and online co-op play, and all that. So yeah, you can check it out and see for yourself. I think that one still doesn't have a date yet, but it's a good way to get some hype for when they do have a date.
Yep. again, same exact comment on that one, except we don't know when the date's going to come. So, yep.
Yeah, so there's that. Next up here, Rock Band 4 is being delisted as of today. I don't know if it's already delisted or not. I did not have a chance to check for that, but Rock Band 4 has turned 10, and that is when the licenses for the songs on the base game soundtrack are expiring. So they announced this earlier this week that they are, done with that. That'll be getting delisted. Seems like it's let's see. Yeah, I assume it must have been taken down already. DLC will be up until it hits the 10th anniversary, as they've said. So if you want any of those songs, better be launching the game and checking it out, see what's there. There is a Wikipedia page for when the DLC launched, so there's stuff that will be going down in the next few days here. But yeah, I think the only other thing they have for the game here, the DLC, is the Rivals expansion, which seems to be free at this point. So if you have the game but never got the DLC, definitely worth checking out. So yeah, sad to see, but not really too surprising. This game got quite a bit more or longer support than I think any of the original Rock Band games did.
Yeah.
Because those got taken down sometime before Rock Band 4 even came out.
Yep.
But this one managed to get to 10 years, so yeah, not too surprising, but had a great run. I don't expect any more Rock Band games. At least outside of Fortnite.
At least not anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, Rock Band is it's really just an accomplishment, getting it to that point. But we live in times where it's really hard to, have that sustained, especially with licensing deals, breaking and whatever it may be. And if you have all that DLC and you still have this stuff, good on you. Hope all your stuff still works.
Yeah. At least the nice thing is there are companies making more guitars, so that's still a thing that's available. But yeah, there's that's for your bit of bummer news here.
Yep.
Next up here we have a date for Stray Children. This is a new RPG from Onion Games. He's made a bunch of weird things over the years, and also made up of people that worked on things like Moon Remix RPG Adventure, Tulip, and Rule of Rose. So they made a bunch of really out there games. Stray Children very much seems to be in line with that, as this game will be out October 30th. And as they describe it here, a bittersweet fairy tale adventure that will change the way you think about children and adults. So yeah, that sounds neat, and this looks neat. It'll be out on Switch and PC on October 30th. So you'll be able to check it out here in a few weeks.
All right.
Yep. Let's see. We got a delay here. Terminator 2D, No Fate, was supposed to be out here at the end of this month. Has been pushed another month to November 26th. It seems like this adjustment is due to ongoing global trade and tariff changes that delayed shipment of the components for our Day 1 and Collector's Editions. Because we are committed to launching all editions together, this new date applies to both physical and digital release worldwide. Okay, so I guess they wanted to have physical versions out the same day as the digital versions, which means as those elaborate physical editions have to deal with the tariff and global trade shit. That means the digital edition has to be delayed as well. So, that's a shame.
Very much so.
Kind of why most of these kind of games tend to just release at a certain point, then have the physical editions come whenever they're ready to go. Because then they can make money both ways.
Yep. Just thinking at least the game's still coming out, so
yeah.
And it looks good, so
yeah. Looks like a game that would have come out on the Super Nintendo, except probably way better. for the average licensed game there. So there's that.
Oh yeah.
We do have another game that's been delayed, Cairn, the mountain climbing game that the game bakers have been working on. The creators of Fury and Haven. Was supposed to be out November 4th, but they've delayed it to early 2026. Yeah, so it seems like they just needed more time. It's content complete, but it needs a few more months to focus on optimization, debugging, and overall polish. So just kind of putting the finishing touches on that game and still just need a couple more months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a shocker. That game has been in playable states at almost every event I've been to, and it seems like it's there. So I wonder if other releases kind of force us to do that as well, and they're not saying that. But yeah, that's definitely surprising. I actually was getting ready to post our list onto onto our Discord channel, and that was on it. So good thing you mentioned it because I just deleted it. So
yeah, yeah, they seem to be wanting to be perfectionist about this because they have a line here. We also see all the improvements we can still do to make the experience unforgettable. After 5 years of work, it makes no sense to rush it. We want to be proud of the game we launch.
Yeah.
Which very much seems to be like we still see improvements we can make, and versus doing that after launch. They kind of want it to be as good as possible for launch. But yeah, that still has demos. Seems like they're going to at least update the Steam demo on October 13th, which will allow players to see ghosts of other players that are climbing alongside them. I think it's at least on PS5 as well, that demo, so they should probably update that one as well. But yeah, that's a neat feature, especially for a game where you may not know how many people are actually playing it. So yeah, there you go. But let's see, we got some more development news. Bortato's developer, Blobfish, has announced that they are moving post-launch development over to Evil Empire, who had the same thing for Dead Cells. So they are taking over to do future updates for this game, which seems like a good studio to do that kind of stuff since they are well versed in that. Blobfish CEO here said, "I'm excited to see how the game evolves into the direction of such a talented team. What fresh perspectives they'll bring to the table. Above all, though, I'm just eager to dive back in and have fun playing Brotato again." So yeah. They're getting their first full update in October. A new mob called the Gobbler, who looks freaky. Oh yeah. Oh, that thing eats all the little XP upgrade stuff and gets bigger as it does that, so that's freaky. So yeah, that looks neat. Yeah, excited to see that game get more updates from a developer that specializes in it.
Oh yeah, and it's also cool that they were like one developer was sort of able to handle hand the reins over to another developer that was going to take good care of it like that.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen very often.
No, usually they just stop working on it. But that game's probably sold well enough that they're like, we can't really justify doing that. But yeah, there you go for that one. We do have some good news here. Silent Hill F has sold 1 million copies in less than a week. I believe in 4 days.
Yeah.
For that, faster than Silent Hill 2's remake did.
Yeah. But I think that's like the fastest it's sold for any game in that series.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a huge marker for the Silent Hill franchise.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want. You want Silent Hill 2 to do well enough that the next game that comes out does even better. It seems to justify that. So if they can keep putting out good Silent Hill games, they'll keep selling. That's what Konami has been trying to avoid for so many years.
And turns out this one is actually really pretty good.
Yeah, so much so you got the shitty people getting mad as they find out the One of the inspirations for the game is the Japanese feminist movement of the 60s and 70s.
Yep.
Which Yukishi very much like, yeah, of course it's a feminist game.
Mm-hmm.
To piss them off, even though they weren't going to play it anyway. So
yeah.
But yeah, there you go. That's good news. We got some more good news. The employees at Zaum are unionizing, at least the ones in the UK office, I guess. They established the first recognized workplace union in the UK games industry, which is surprising it's taken that long there. But yeah, especially for the sort of studio this at least was.
Yeah.
That there are still enough people there that believe in that.
Yeah.
That they have unionized is great.
Yeah.
They're going to be represented by the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which is makes me slightly less suspicious for that game that they've got coming down the wire, but still not enough that I still want to have other people play it first.
Yeah.
Before I have any opinion on it.
Yeah. Luckily, it seems like studio management has recognized the union. Will meet regularly with the committee of elected workplace representatives to discuss workplace matters.
Yeah,
so that's good to see. Yeah, we wish them the best and hope everything works out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking over the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain right now. Yeah, it looks like a pretty solid organization. So yeah.
Yeah. But let's get through the trudge of shit news here. This isn't that shit yet, but Ubisoft's and Tencent's subsidiary that's going to manage a number of Ubisoft's properties now has a name called Vantage Studios, which certainly is a hell of a name for a subsidiary that oversees a bunch of properties. So there you go for that. This is the one that's going to manage essentially the future of Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. So yeah, that is the whole thing. Seems like they're going to have about 2,300 employees there through all the offices there. So yeah.
Yeah. So basically, isn't what happened is that Ubisoft essentially made another little company and then just sold a bunch of their franchises to that little company, and they still technically control all of them? Or am I getting it wrong here?
That's kind of what this is. Essentially partnered with Tencent, who has a 25% stake in this company. And with that, they are going to be the main company in control of Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. So, it's a subsidiary under the overall Ubisoft group, but it's sort of part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
So a little bit less centralized, but still kind of dealing with everything else that's going on. Kind of separating it from the rest of the group. I assume because those are their most lucrative IPs at the moment. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, there's your update on that. The next up here, we have Avalanche Studios announced that they're shutting down their Liverpool studio and laying off an unknown number of employees. Not just from that Liverpool studio, but also from some of their other studios as well. And so, yeah, this comes in the wake of Contraband being dropped by Microsoft, and it seems like in the month or so that since that happened, they have not found a new partner to take on that project. So they likely are putting that on hold and sort of having to make these moves to keep things going for the rest of the company itself. So, yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, not really hugely surprising. You don't get a project that's been in the works for 4 or 5 years shut down and not have any consequences for that.
Yeah. Once again, that's just what the industry is like right now.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll get to the two biggest bits of news this week. EA
Mm-hmm.
has officially been purchased by the group that includes the Saudi Public Investment Fund, as well as what is here, Silver Lake Partners and
Yep.
Affinity Partners,
Yeah.
which the latter of which involves one Jared Kushner
Yep.
in its day to day, who has plenty of business ties to Saudi Arabia himself.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And it also means that EA is officially going private too.
Yeah. Essentially, for $55 billion, they're going private. And as part of the funding for that, they took out a $20 billion loan
Mm-hmm.
through JP Mortgage Chase Bank,
Yep.
or JP Morgan Chase Bank, and essentially put that onto EA itself so that they have to pay back the $40 billion there,
Mm-hmm.
which seems unlikely to be happening,
Yeah.
at least without any sort of huge surprising thing happening here. But
Mm-hmm.
seems like essentially it's going to add a death date for EA at some
Yeah.
point. That likely they will be saddled with this debt and have to lay off people and maybe sell off teams or IPs or something at a certain point.
Yep.
Which would be a sad way for EA to go.
Yeah.
For as much as people hate the company,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say at the same time, in a very cruel way, it would kind of be poetic justice for all of the studios that they bought and dissolved over the years. But yes, it would be very sad for that to happen.
Yeah, because even if that happens, the people that did that are not suffering.
No.
'Cause essentially, I believe as part of this, they are buying the stock at a premium.
Mm-hmm.
I think $210, I think, per share to the whatever 150 something it is at the time of closing on this. 168 it says here that you know Andrew Wilson gets paid a lot in stock,
Mm-hmm.
and he essentially is going to have the value of that increased by quite a bit, for largely not really doing a ton to make the company better
Mm-hmm.
over the years. It kind of feels like for as long as he's been there, he's not really set a great agenda to anything that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of feels like very much trying to figure out what the right thing to do is and change everything with the company to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for the past year or two has been like, we got to figure out how to use AI and things, and not really making much inroads on that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's like we got college football that came back and that did really well for 1 year. I don't know that it's done the same for its second year, but
Mm-hmm.
they were going to get back into college basketball. Now apparently, thrown that away because of 2K kind of getting in there and meddling with things. And yeah, I don't know where the money is going to come out of here that is going to justify this investment versus
Yeah.
them essentially being able to take on this debt and then unload it to EA and kind of not have to deal with it themselves. They can
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the benefits of it without sacrificing anything themselves. As like the Saudis are just further investing into gaming and sports in a way that is very unfortunate. Esports, essentially as a whole, is Saudi owned at this point.
Yep.
There are portions of it that are not, but they bought Evo and own large chunks of other big leagues and all that. Same that they're trying to do with sports, with golf and all that. And yeah, it'll be a fun time here seeing how this stuff unfolds for EA.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of news. Obviously, I have a personal connection here, considering I worked at EA for, on paper it was 7 years, but it was really just 3 because I was there as a result of acquisition, and
Yeah.
I don't work there anymore because I was laid off. My studio was shut down, and yeah, like all the news about nothing imminent happening. Of course, nothing imminent is happening. Like the books aren't going to be closed until like what, January.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I am a shareholder, so I do stand to benefit from this. But at the same time, like I'm a shareholder because I was involved in their employee stock purchase program. Which, if any of your listeners have always thought about ESPP and your company offers it, do it. There's no reason not to, because you're getting the stock at a discount. And if your company were to get but like this here, yeah, you absolutely stand to benefit, and yeah, whether or not you're employed, still money in your pocket. Anyway, that being said, the people who I know who are still there, they work on they work on a mobile game, which was the main reason why my company was acquired in the first place. And then the other people I know are working at Madden. So that being said, I would assume that they're safe, but who knows? The one thing that is really news here is, as far as I'm concerned, I think this is the first time a Saudi entity owns a AAA company. Like they do own Scopely, but I don't consider Scopely a AAA. They're definitely a mobile leader, and they're definitely like they have their hands in both sports and mobile. But I think EA is the first big AAA thing. So I don't know what this means going forward, especially for a lot of the stuff that's made here in America. I don't know how it affects Madden, but the main thing is like you have to assume they're okay, because um, that's obviously a moneymaker for them. But yeah, I don't know what this means for Motive. I don't know what this means for um, uh, BioWare. And BioWare's already in trouble. So um, anyway, this is absolutely going to be a wait and see approach. For lack of a better way to analyze it, like the Saudis haven't done a terrible job with esports, although it is way different than what it was 10 years ago. So yeah, it's just a course for change. But yeah, at the end of the day, EA as a whole going private could be a good thing creatively. We just don't know what it means moving forward. I know I mentioned all those other studios. I also don't know what's going to happen with the EA Originals. Like, they made a killing, and both as far as sales and with prestige, with things like Hazelight, with It Takes Two and Split Fiction. So yeah, it's interesting. And I just hope that the people who are there aren't going through too much of a stressful situation or whatever it may be. But yeah, usually acquisitions aren't the best thing. And then as for like the debt that goes on, yeah, I don't really see that being repaid. And it honestly would not surprise me to see Andrew Wilson leave before that even happens, because he's going to cash out. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Andrew Wilson pretty much makes out like a bandit here, especially when he is quoted as congratulating employees for making this possible. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what they were working for, was to make a lot of money for you.
Yeah, it's the funny thing. Like in my situation, like when I was at Glue before the EA purchase, we'd go to all hands as well, and we'd talk about acquisitions, and it was in the sense where I thought that we were acquiring another company. Lo and behold, 6 months later, we're the ones that are acquired. So yeah, like I don't know if being bought is supposed to be a part of any good business plan, but at the end of the day, like there are a lot of people that profit from it, and not just executives. If people were smart enough to get involved in the ESPP program, it's good for them. But at the same time, if you're like a new employee and you have short-term capital gains that are being sold right away, that could be bad as far as tax goes. But that's a totally different conversation. So, yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that's aren't going to benefit from this in the way that suddenly their owners are the Saudis, who may not take kindly to people that are not straight white people, straight white men here, especially the queer folk that work at EA, especially on things like Bioware stuff or The Sims.
I understand that that concern, and it is a real one. But considering how they've been working with SNK, I'm not terribly sure that's the case.
I don't know. We'll see with that stuff, but also they didn't fully acquire SNK. They just own 90% of their stock that effectively owns it.
That's true, I guess.
So they did help fund that that Guilty Gear game, or I think it was No, it was Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury. Yeah.
Spent a lot of money on that. Got two people that are very involved with the royal family onto that. One being a rapist, another just a DJ, and none of that helped the game sell. Even for all the money that was spent on esports stuff with that game and all that, did not really benefit at all. But yeah, for EA, there's definitely a lot of concerned people that are not happy about this. Especially the potential for directives to change the way that they make games. AI might be more pushed in the future for this, especially as they start to look at ways to cut costs and very much be like, well, we'll get rid of a bunch of people, replace it with AI for what we can, do that, get rid of the failing parts of the company, your BioWares and maybe your Respawn, as they kind of have been struggling with making new successors to Apex Legends or anything like that. There's plenty of ways they can go and start cutting at the company to save some money and make more payments on those on the debts there. That kind of has a lot of concern there. That unfortunately is not easy to assuage with just saying there's no plans for immediate changes to their workforce. Because it's like, yeah, there weren't immediate changes to Microsoft and Activision Blizzard after that acquisition, but a good chunk of time after that, they did make major cuts to the companies. So I feel like this is something that we haven't seen on this scale. That we'll have to see where this goes. We just don't have many examples of this happening before, as the Saudis kind of get more aggressive with the way they want to get diversified with their money. But yeah, there you go on the EA front. About to see how that goes. But on a similar trajectory, Xbox has been going super great since acquiring Activision Blizzard, especially on the Game Pass front, as they announced this week that they are increasing the cost of Game Pass Ultimate from $20 a month to $30 a month, which made a lot of sense from the news that happened shortly before that, where Microsoft Rewards essentially ended the ability to use the points you earned for Game Pass subscriptions. So if you wanted to get Game Pass from using Microsoft Rewards, you would have to use it on the Xbox credit there. The Xbox gift cards. Then use that to fund the renewal for Game Pass, which is not as easy of a thing to do, especially when you're planning to increase the cost for that days later. So yeah, they essentially overhauled Game Pass to be 3 main tiers at this point. I believe it is $10 for the essential tier, which now covers PC, console, and cloud. So they're putting the cloud streaming stuff in all the tiers. You also get your multiplayer and a library of about 50 games or so. to play. They also mention here play and earn up to $25 a year in the store with rewards, which is a funny little add to the end of this stuff. Premium, which is $15 a month, gets you PC, console, and cloud for up to 200 games. You get new Xbox published games within a year of launch. Unlimited cloud gaming with shorter wait times. So I guess they're adding wait times for the essential tier, which feeds into the rumors that are going around that they're going to have a free tier that includes like 2 minutes of ads you can watch before you stream. And then from there, it's like 5 hours a month you're allowed to stream, which is nothing. But yeah, they also mention play and earn up to $50 a year in store with rewards for this. About 200 games or so for that tier, and then there's Ultimate, which is 400 plus games, as they say here, $29.99 a month. They mentioned 75 plus day one games a year, including all Xbox published games day one. Ubisoft Plus Classics and EA Play included. With Fortnite Crew coming in November, so they're going to add that as another thing that you can get for your Ultimate tier. They also mentioned unlimited cloud gaming at our best quality with the shortest wait times. So even faster into that stuff. Then play and earn up to $100 a year in the store with rewards. So, and I believe part of this is that PC Game Pass is still technically going to exist, but from what I've seen, they kind of make the options for that stuff kind of show up in like the corner. They make it real hard to see compared to everything else. I'm not sure if the cost on that is the same as it was or what it is at this point. But I believe also on there is that if you have the PC only plan, you do not get Call of Duty. I don't think so. Of course, they obscure some of this stuff, so I'm trying to click through here and see what all is mentioned on here. But yeah, the other thing people have noticed that the discount on DLC for a lot of games, especially like Call of Duty, has disappeared after this change has been made. So a lot of those like little discounts that you could get are no longer going to be a thing, it seems. So yeah, there's a lot going on here that very much makes it seem like this is them kind of wanting to be done with the cheaper ways of getting into Game Pass, especially as they are getting rid of your ability to earn it easily through Microsoft Rewards, because you could essentially, if you were dedicated enough, as kind of I was doing, and even still not being super dedicated to it because I never really did much of the mobile stuff, but I could get enough to cover Game Pass for a couple of months here every so often. So I'm definitely not going to be paying for Game Pass, especially at $30 a month. That's too much, and I can just more easily put that money into buying an indie game or two a month instead. That'd be a better use of my time for this, but they do try to justify this by saying that 75 plus games a year is an increase on what they've been doing. Just like, yeah, sure, I guess. But if those games don't appeal to you, it's not that worthwhile for the extra cost. It's all up to the taste of the person. And yeah, it's sort of thing that has caused a lot of consternation across the internet, as people have been more than willing enough to talk about how good of a deal it is. But big 50% increase right after cracking down on Microsoft Rewards. And keep in mind, this is also right after they just sold pre-orders for the Xbox handhelds, the ROG Ally X and all that. to be like, oh, the Game Pass, to keep using it on these devices you don't have yet is going to be going up. On that, it's like that's pretty shitty there. With all that, so yeah, there's a lot of this that comes across as Microsoft wanting, the people that love Game Pass to pay up, and if they, get the freeloaders that are on Ultimate to go down a tier or cancel, they're hoping that that is less than what makes all this extra increase worth it, which maybe or may not work. I don't know. But yeah, this is a fun time to add this on top of everything else that's going on that's making people very annoyed with the Xbox brand and the people running it, especially in the wake of the BDS boycotts for their participation in what the Israeli IDF army's been doing in Gaza and all that. So yeah, just more fun for the pile in Xbox land. So yeah, there you go for that news.
Yeah, that's not a fun announcement. I am somebody that has constantly said that Xbox Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, and not anymore. Not when you raise it a full 50%. And even though I'm someone that said that, I also like rarely ever turn on my Xbox, and when I do, I spend more time scrolling down my Xbox Game Pass list than I do actually playing a game. And I guess that's both a credit and a discredit to Xbox for, everything they've done with it, but it is what it is. Granted, I don't actually pay for my Game Pass. I do have a press thing, but it only lasts about a year. So yeah, when that expires, I'm definitely not continuing unless like they decide that they want to extend it. But yeah, it just makes me wonder like why I even have one. The only physical game I have on my Xbox Series X is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which came out on the PS5 like a year later. So yeah, I don't have an exclusive. They don't appear to care about exclusives anymore, and I don't know. It just why even have one? They also recently raised prices on all of them. Like I don't even know who's buying them. I don't know why you'd want to have it as a choice other than maybe the controller, because I do know a lot of people, myself included, that actually prefer the controller over the PlayStation one. But yeah, like there is no value present here. And the frustrating thing is they have bought so many companies and at the same time have laid off so many people that I just don't see any sort of return on investment, because they very well could be the most powerful company in the industry, and they probably still are, but the output has just not been there. And I'm not even putting like Sony in the picture either. They've released like 2 games this year, and like one of them isn't even really theirs. So yeah, like Sony and Microsoft right now are just twiddling their thumbs. I currently do play for or do pay for the highest PlayStation membership, and I don't know why. Again, like I spend more time scrolling than I actually do spend playing. And we've been fortunate enough to be playing a lot of like review codes and stuff, but there just hasn't been much of a reason to buy anything. I've been looking forward to it, but all three of us, we spent this whole podcast talking about games that are not Ghost of Yotei because I'm still waiting for my copy to arrive. But it's just where the industry is right now. I'm just like not seeing a point in owning a current generation console. And like we were complaining about the price of the Switch 2, and now the Switch 2 is cheaper than both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So we're back to where we started. And with Xbox, it's just tough. Like you mentioned the ROG Ally X or whatever it's called, being over $1,000, and all of a sudden they're going to raise PC Game Pass too. It's just, I don't know. Like you're asking us for money and giving us nothing in return. Everyone doing stuff for you are the indies. And, those games are going to be on the service for a few months, and that's just about it. Like, I just don't see a reason to even really continue with Microsoft anymore.
Yeah. I was looking at the Xbox Wire version of this announcement, and they do have this fun graphic for, I think, Premium. That's like, it says, new Xbox published games within 1 year, asterisk, very tiny asterisk. and I go look down at the asterisk and it says excludes Call of Duty titles. So it's like, oh, they're not putting those on this. Ultimate might have the same one here. I don't know, but yeah, it's like them kind of putting all these like weasel words in here. Yeah, I think with Call of Duty Black Ops 7, at least they're going to include that, but there's certainly taking to heart that putting that on Game Pass did not bring in as much money as just selling it for $70 for that, and that being like a big thing, potentially lost sales just on Call of Duty itself. And yeah, they seem to be making plans on not losing money anymore on this service. So yeah, that's a fun whole thing, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to think about what Xbox actually is. They are a subsidiary of Microsoft, and if like the money we were giving them was supporting the system, then I'd be totally fine. But like when you look at what Microsoft is doing with AI, like that's what we're really paying for, and I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah, and that's definitely been an issue. So yeah, that's going to end up doing it for the news here. We do have one final segment here with our fall 2025 release preview. We'll kind of move through this pretty quickly, but there is a lot here, especially for October. And I did not include the stuff from last week with the Ghost of Yote, which I do have. I did pre-order and install, but I instead focused on a game that makes me sleepy instead of playing it. So that's kind of been my week, where I'm like, I want to start this, but also have to play this game about me shooting fuzzy stuff. So yeah. But yeah, let's get to here. We got for October 7th, Battlesuit Aces for PS5, Switch, and PC. This is the new game from the Battle Chef Brigade developer.
Yep.
Looks really cool. I was just listening to an interview about that, where they liken it to sort of Star Trek meets like a card battling game of sorts, especially influenced by the two main devs kind of watching a lot of Star Trek during the pandemic. So that's a fun whole thing. Also on the 7th, we got King of Meat, which is I think one of those co-op combat games kind of thing. So yeah, that'll be out on PS5, Switch, Xbox, and PC. Then the 9th, we got Absalom, which I believe has the Doom composer is doing music for this as well. But this is an arcade beat 'em up game published by Dotemu, developer Guard Crush Games, which I forget what they've done before. Oh yeah, the Streets of Rage 4 people. So yeah, they've done some real good work. That's on PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Also on the 9th, we have Blue Protocol Star Residence. This is the Amazon published whatever is left of Blue Protocol, as it was supposed to be like a console and PC game, is now sort of a mobile, I assume, gacha game, because it does have the vibes of a Genshin Impact. It's on PC and mobile for that, so yeah, there's that. Also on the 9th, by Sweet Carol, the sort of classic Disney style animation for a horror game here. That looks really neat. It has a nice style to it.
Oh yeah, I've heard people sort of compare it to the original Clock Tower.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that for PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. There's also Lost Eidolons for Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch for PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is a strategy RPG. It has some really good looking stuff to it. It has a demo, I know, at the very least, to check it out early. But yeah, that looks fun. And then also on the 9th, Yooka-Laylee is out for PS5, Xbox, Switch 2, and PC. As this one's been in the works for quite a while at this point, as they've essentially are remastering the original Yuka Lele game, but doing a lot of work to rework a lot of it to make it a better game. So yeah, that is available later this week. Let's see, that's just the 9th. We still have a bunch of games coming out on the 10th. There's Battlefield 6 for PS5, Xbox, and PC. That's the latest Battlefield game. That seems to have some decent momentum to it. So we'll see if that actually continues to sell. We got Disgaea 7 Complete, as they do this sort of complete version of Disgaea 7 for the Switch 2, but not any other platforms. So that is a Switch 2 exclusive. Has the base game, all the DLC, and a new bonus story, new character, and new post-game elements. So yeah. There you go for that one. Let's see. There's also, Dreams of Another, which I mentioned. That is out from Q Games. That's one to keep an eye on. There's also Little Nightmares 3. And I believe alongside this, there's also a remastered version of the first game. It's sort of one of those things, if you get the deluxe edition, you get the remaster of that. Or no, it's a pre-order for any of the editions. Okay. You get that. So, yeah, if you... I'm not sure if you have... Maybe this is the game that if you have Little Nightmares, you had to wait until launch to get the free upgrade. But if you pre-ordered, you got it right when you pre-ordered. So there's that. Pixel Junk Eden 2. Q Games has another game launching on October 10th, and that is Pixel Junk Eden 2 that is finally coming out. This has been on the Switch back in the day, and I believe they've done a bunch of work to it to, I assume, make it more like the original Pixel Junk Eden versus being like a mobile game that the Switch version is, because it's like a mobile game they made called Eden Obscura, with different characters that you can switch between, kind of thing. But yeah, this one has full 4K support and a bunch of that stuff, so I'm curious to check that one out. For that, also on the 10th, Scourge Hive, which is a this is a DS and Game Boy Advance game that is being remastered for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. So that's one you can check out. And then also on the 10th, Ys vs. Trails in the Sky Alternative Saga. So yeah, that's all the games for this week, which is a lot. Then we get to next week. There's Chicken Hair and the Treasure of Spiking Beard. It's a neat looking action adventure platformer. That'll be out next week on everything. So yeah, that is a fun one. Let's see, NASCAR 25 from the iRacing peoples coming to PS5 and Xbox. Which that's a thing I'm kind of curious about, because iRacing is a very exacting, realistic simulator on the PC. So much so it's essentially kind of a subscription service to a degree. But yeah, that is kind of held as like the pinnacle of sim racing. And so I'm curious sort of how NASCAR fits into that for the console releases that are happening here. Let's see, then we got the 15th, Ball Pit. This is the Devolver Digital game that I'm very curious about. This adds in elements of brick-breaking games, base building, survival roguelites. I think even Vampire Survivors kind of fits in there a bit. So yeah, that is looking like a very interesting game. This is from the developer of what was it? I forget what the game is called. Let me see here. Yeah, Mr. Sun's Hatbox, which is a very different kind of game. But yeah, there's that. Then we got on the 16th, Pokemon Legends ZA for the Switch and Switch 2. That one finally comes out as the newest Pokemon game that people can whine about. So there's that. Then we got the 17th with Keeper, the newest Double Fine game, is finally releasing after 5 years since the the last one came out, Psychonauts 2. So it's nice to see them. They're doing something a bit different, as you would expect. Third-person puzzle adventure game. This one seems to be. There's no dialogue or anything to this, as far as I can tell. But yeah, that looks neat. That'll also be on Game Pass. Let's see. There's Lumo 2, which is a puzzle platformer. Sequel to a game that did pretty well. And it seems to be doing more of that, so that looks neat. So that's next week. The week after that, Jurassic World Evolution 3, which now is AI free, at least of AI art. That's the game that they announced it, and then people saw the AI disclaimer on their Steam page and bullied them into paying actual people to do the art, which was just like scientist avatars. Feels like the thing that should be pretty easy for your artist to do. But yeah, that's actually happening on October 21st, so you can check that out. Then we got Ninja Gaiden 4, which is on PS5, Xbox, PC, and Game Pass, so that is finally out. And also on the 21st, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 for PS5, Xbox, and PC. That is also finally out after years and years of waiting. So there's that. The 22nd, Dispatch puts out its first 2 episodes, and then they put out the next 2 episodes next week, and then 2 more the week after that, and 2 more at the 4th week. It looks like it's going to be a pretty cool game. So we got Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem. This is a third-person action game, over-the-shoulder kind of thing that looks really neat. As you're kind of doing these fights in a mech kind of thing, almost like a maybe a little Wild West mech stuff kind of going on here. That looks pretty neat. And they call it post-apocalyptic version of the American Southwest. Whatever that means. So yeah. I think that means like steampunk Southwest kind of thing. So there's that. Then we got also on the 23rd, Double Dragon Revive. The 3D Double Dragon game from Ukes. Looks pretty neat. So yeah, that'll be out. See if that's actually good. I feel like every other Double Dragon game is good.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Dreams Dreamed Away. This is another game that's kind of pixel art action adventure RPG. Kind of thing that looks really neat. There are a lot of influences from like Earthbound and stuff like that. So Earthbound and Undertale. So yeah, that looks neat. Then we got let's see, Full Metal Schoolgirl. No, this is the Ukes game. I'm not sure what the Double Dragon Revive was. Arc? Yeah, Arc System Works. Oh yeah, Ukes is also that one. This is another one. They have 2 games coming out the same day, which I'm sure is great for them. Full Metal Schoolgirl is like a big, anime action game. That's been getting pushed a bit. Looks pretty neat. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Could be all right. We'll see. There's that. Also on the 23rd, this is another one of those days that just has a bunch of games. The Lonesome Guild. This is a top-down single-player action RPG. Published by Don't Nod, developer Tiny Bull Studios. That looks pretty neat. Let's see, Persona 3 Reload is out on the Switch too. So people that are Nintendo Persona people can finally check that out. Let's see, also on the 23rd, a game I'm excited for, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. A remaster of the original Plants vs. Zombies game that looks really neat. I'm excited for that. That's on everything. And I might end up buying it at some point on everything. It's just, I've beaten that game on every platform that I've had available to me. I think it's everything but iPad, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that'll be out for $20 for October 23rd, so not too far away. Let's see, we got the 24th with Chicken Run Extraction. They're finally getting the game out based on that last movie. And that is out not too far away. It seems like a stealth action game, which is kind of what you want out of a Chicken Run thing. Also, the 24th is Once Upon a Katamari, new Katamari game that looks like a traditional one, so nothing too weird about it. That's finally out on everything.
The
25th, we got Halls of Torment on PS5 and Xbox.
Yep.
That I'm excited for because that's a really good game. Then on the 25th, we got Recreation. That is an arcade racing game from Three Fields Entertainment, which is from the people that made Burnout. So I'm curious to see what that game is. I feel like I've seen a little bit of it, not a ton about how it actually plays, but there's that. And then we'll get to the final week of October. It still has a ton of games. The 29th is The Outer Worlds 2. That finally is out.
Yep.
Let's see. We got Arc Raiders, the next big extraction shooter that people are interested in. Hopeful it'll be the one that is finally out. Also on the 30th, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake. Because that's on everything. To finish that trilogy, there's Mahjongami, the new Inti Creates game. Platformer action game kind of thing that looks neat, that is on Switch and Switch 2. Also on the 30th, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is finally out. With all the Mortal Kombat games from, probably going to say from the 90s, because the good and the bad from that, including a couple extras like Mortal Kombat Special Forces, Mortal Kombat Advance for the GBA, Daily Alliance for the GBA, and Tournament Edition for the GBA.
Yep.
Which I saw digital clips talking about that. Somebody talking about that, and it's like, we did it because we could. Because we could get the rights for that, and it would fit the collection. It's more the 2D fighting game kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you get some really good Mortal Kombat games and some really bad ones.
Yep.
So there's that. And then Stray Children, as I mentioned earlier, is out on the 30th. Then for consoles, Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage is out. So you'll finally have another chance to buy a new version of Virtua Fighter 5. For PS5 and Xbox. Switch to probably next year. Then the 31st, still more games are coming out. Mina the Hollower.
Yep.
On everything, and Tales of Xillia remastered.
Yep.
So there's your October, a seemingly endless list of cool games.
God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what there is looking good for you, Brandon?
The obvious one is Mina the Hollower. I've been anticipating that game for a long time, ever since it was announced, and finally excited to get a chance to actually play the whole thing. I played the demo like 3 or 4 times, and if they can keep that going for a whole epic game, then Yacht Club's got another masterpiece on their hands. Other than that, Ninja Gaiden 4 looks pretty interesting. Let's see. Once Upon a Katamari, definitely, because I still love Katamari Damacy. The Outer Worlds 2 also looks really cool, and definitely the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. That's a big one. If for nothing else than that interactive documentary that comes with it.
Is that it?
But that's about it. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run through games that interest me, and then I'll talk about what I actually play. So as for what interests me, Yuka Replay Yi. I actually will play that because I was not a fan of the original, but after playing the demo, it definitely feels like they're going in the right direction with that. I am interested in Battlefield 6. I probably will not play that. I am interested in Dreams of Another, but then I played the demo and I wondered if it was for me. And then after hearing what Chris said, I probably am going to skip that one. Little Nightmares 3 is a game that I'm also looking forward to. I've played demos and I'm looking forward to it. So if it's under 4 hours, I definitely will play it. East versus Trails in the Sky, I'll probably play for a couple of hours and put it down. Ball Pit or Ball X Pit, I don't know how it's actually pronounced. I'm interested.
I think
don't
it's
know.
just Ball Pit.
Ball Pit, got it. Pokemon Legends ZA is probably my second most anticipated game of this month, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'll definitely will play that one. Keeper is a game I'm interested in, but I'm going to monitor it. Ninja Gaiden 4 is a game I definitely will play, but I probably won't be good enough to beat. Dispatch is a game that I will play, and I am interested in seeing how it just releases every now and then. Double Dragon Revive is a game that I'm interested in, but don't know if I'll have time for. And then you got to go all the way down to Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. Aside from Ghost of Yotei, this is my most anticipated release of the month, and I definitely will play that. And then there is Mina the Hollower. I'm going to give the code to Brandon if we get one. We're going to get a stack of codes. It's a stacked month, and we'll do what we can. But yeah, at the end of the day, my focus is beating Digimon and Yotei before Pokemon. I play Pokemon during my trip, and then once Dragon Quest comes, that'll be my full focus, and that's my October.
Yeah.
All right.
For me, things that I will probably get is I'll probably get Pixel Junk Eden 2. I'm excited for that. Ball Pit I'll probably check out. When I get a chance, that looks like it's going to be an interesting bit of chaos there. Dispatch I would like to check out. We'll see if I do get the time for that. Might have to just wait until after all the extra episodes come out. We'll see. Yeah, Plants vs Zombies. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that, and I'd like to check out Halls of Torment. I have the PC version, but I'd like to have that on the console. To be a better place for me to check it out, and then Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I'm excited for that, and Mina the Hollower I will be getting since I backed it, so I'll be getting a code that way. So there's that, and yeah, that's my October. Let's get to November. There's still a bunch here. We got Satisfactory on the 4th for PS5 and Xbox. That is coming out of, or has hit 1.0 on PC, and now they've got a console version available for people next month. We've got Dinkum, which was from that most recent Direct, published by Krafton, sort of a game that is one part Animal Crossing, one part Stardew Valley. Kind of build up this town for other NPCs to join in to take over shops and such. Which you also get sort of a world to explore that's based on Australia, so some harshness to it with ridiculous creatures, but also some nice ones, I guess. So yeah, that's one you can check out. Also on the 6th, there's Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, the third of those games. This time set in the before times or in the middle of Tears of the Kingdom story, depending on how you want to look at it for that. And yeah, that's one that'll be another $70 game for Nintendo. So there's that. Wait, the developer of this game is called AAA Game Studio. Okay, that's I was not expecting that. Also on the 6th, Siberia Remastered. They remastered that first Siberia game and putting it on consoles and PC. So that's neat. It's a very well regarded adventure game. So there's that. Also on the 6th, Unbeatable. This is a Kickstarter game that rhythm adventure game. Has demos that are out there. Very much got an anime style to it and looks really neat. So there's that for November. Then the 7th, we got a game called I Hate This Place. This is an open world survival horror game with a really neat look to it. This is published by Skybound Games. And yeah, that's on everything for that. So yeah, there's that. Then the following week on the 11th, we got Goodnight Universe. This is another I think another Starbound or Skybound Games publish game. This is an adventure game with a nice look to it. From the creators of Before Your Eyes, so it's got its similar vibes to that. Also, on the 11th is Luminous Arise, which looks really good. I played a bit of that limited time demo they put out, and that looked really nice. That's PS5, PC, and PSVR 2. Possessors is also out that same day. That is Devolver Digital's next game here. From Heart Machine, the makers of Hyperlight Breaker and Hyperlight Drifter. So they have a secret second game they've been working on.
Yep.
Alongside that, and then there's Root Alley, a game that very much is one of those kind of computer RPG stuff things for that. So there's that. We also got let's see, Winter Burrow, which is an indie game that's coming to Xbox and PC and Game Pass. This one's also has the devs have been getting harassed by the shitty people because I believe Sweet Baby Inc. helped on the project. So that's what it gets them for that. But that looks really neat. It's like a woodland survival game. He plays a mouse that lives in a winter burrow. So there's that. Let's see, 13th, Gigasword. It's a neat looking game. It's kind of a Metroid kind of game, whereas you might expect you have a giant sword and use that not only to attack enemies but also solve puzzles and do some other stuff with it. That looks really neat. Let's see, Inazuma 11 Victory Road is going to be out. This is a game that Level 5 has delayed a bunch, but finally seems to be coming out. That we got a month and change to go, so they might still delay it. We'll see, but I feel like this one is pretty much ready to go. And I think this also is a game that people are pretty certain has AI usage in it, like crowd shots and that kind of stuff. So that may be one to avoid if you don't want to support AI. But yeah, we've just got PUBG Battlegrounds is coming to PS5 and Xbox. They are ending support for the current or the PS4 and Xbox One versions and putting out new PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions so that they run better and will get better support for the future. Also on the 13th, we got Ren Sport, a new racing simulation game that's been in PC early access for a while and now is coming out of that to also get console versions. Yeah, that looks neat. Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch 2 on the 13th. So you haven't played those, that's a chance to play them. Then the 14th has Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which is on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Game Pass for that. So there you go there. Also on the 14th is Where Winds Meets, the kind of Chinese wuxia style free-to-play action-adventure game.
Yep.
So you can check that one out. See, on the 15th, there's Escape from Tarkov is finally hitting 1.0 after a long time in early access, so that's good. Let's see, 17th, The Berlin Apartment is a first-person adventure game that looks really neat. So yeah, it's PS5, Xbox, and PC. Let's see, 18th, Morsels. This is out on PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. The roguelite shooter from the team that worked on, let's see, Furcula, who worked on, I forget what the Nidhogg 2. They did the art for that game, and so that art style very much shines through here. for Morsels, and that was a really fun demo when I played that.
Mm.
Let's see, also on the 18th, SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide, the new game they have. I think it's a 3D platformer, like most of them have been.
Mm-hmm.
The 19th, Demon School is finally out. They took a opportunity to delay the game to get away from Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yeah.
And so they kind of got a little more space here.
Mm-hmm.
That's on everything.
Yep.
On the 20th, we got a half dozen games here almost. Kirby Air Riders for the Switch 2. We're supposed to get another direct here sometime soon. Neon Inferno, which looks pretty neat. This is sort of a side-scrolling shooter, but you also have elements of shooting into the background and above you and all that. That looks really neat. There's Outlaws plus Handful of Missions Remaster, probably the dumbest name game I've seen in a while. Because the original game was just called Outlaws, but they've added a handful of missions, so they added that to the title. This is a Night Dive Studios remaster of a LucasArts game from the 90s. Let's see, also on the 20th, R-Type Delta HD Boosted, which looks neat. Remaster or remake of the original PS1 shooter with a lot of new stuff added to it. And then Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl is coming to PS5 for that. And then, the last couple games here. Constance for the PC. This is I think they call it a hand-drawn Metroidvania. Has some Hollow Knight vibes to it from what I saw here. Looks really neat. That's only on PC. And then Terminator 2D, No Fate, is out on the 26th, right before the holiday season there. And that's it for November. A lot of stuff here. Yep. So yeah, Brandon, what do you got that's interesting here?
Well, let me just see here. Probably. Let me get out of my way. All right, yeah. The first big one is probably Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. I did like the last Hyrule Warriors game. Even though I thought story-wise it kind of ended rather unsatisfactorily. But this one does look good. Also, Siberia Remastered. I played the original Siberia, and yes, it is a really good game. And I'm glad they're going back and trying to update the graphics a little bit because it shows its age a little bit in the modern era. Let's see, probably also Demon School. I mean, that also looks pretty neat as well. Of course, I have some doubts, but I want that game to be good because it looks great. And probably Neon Inferno. The gameplay is kind of giving me Gunstar vibes, and I love that. But yeah, that's pretty much me. What about you, Dan Red?
Yeah, at least in my eyes, it's not as stacked. I am also interested in Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, but I've also never finished any of those games, and I don't see myself doing that here either. Goodnight Universe is probably the most interesting looking one to me, so I'll definitely take a look at that one. Luminous Arise is just a vibe. I played the demo at Summer Game Fest with headphones on, and I was just in a completely different place. So really looking forward to that one. And really, that's pretty much it. I mean, like, there's Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 that I'll probably grab on Switch 2 because I never finished either. And I think playing it in handheld is going to be what actually gets me there. Other than that, Kirby Air Riders. When I played that at PAX, I didn't know what it was. Like, I've never played the original. The modes we played at PAX weren't even racing. Based on what we played, I don't even know if it's a racing game anymore. So I'll be interested in that regard. I don't know if it's a day one, but I'll definitely be looking at other reviews, or if there's actual racing in it, then I'll get it.
Yeah. For me here, I'm probably gonna check out Unbeatable. That looks really fun. Luminous Arise, also one I'm excited for. Let's see here. I'll probably be checking out Morsels. That looks really good from the what I played of the demo. Demon School I'm interested in. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy it just yet. I do have the demo download, so I'll probably check that out. And yeah, maybe Constance. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, maybe Terminator 2D as well. That looks really neat. But yeah, for December here, we don't have much because not much has been announced. But there is some notable games here. For the 3rd, there's Let It Die Inferno, the latest game in that franchise. Doing some fun kind of twisting of Souls-like gameplay into more multiplayer and roguelike kind of stuff here. From what they've said of the game, it'll be free to play, I believe. But yeah, they got some bundles to buy ahead of time. No, this one they might be charging $25 for it. Okay. That still looks neat. On the 4th, we got a trio of games, all on the same level. Blood Refresh Supply. This is a night dive game based on an old first-person shooter that I guess Warner Brothers owns at this point. Yeah, Monolith game. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally comes out for the Switch and Switch 2. And then we got Octopath Traveler 0. That it's the first game in the series to launch on all the platforms: PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Then on the 8th, we got a few games here. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 releases at the tail end of 2025 on the PS5. Then we got Yakuza 0 Director's Cut coming to PS5, Xbox, and PC. No free upgrade for that for people that own Yakuza 0. Nor a paid upgrade. You just have to buy the game again. And same for Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 for the PS5 and Xbox. No upgrade path for that, so you have to just buy them again, probably at full price. As Sega gets what they want there.
Yeah.
The 9th, we got Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered International. So this is the remaster that has extra content in it and all that. So yeah, that looks neat. Then the 10th, we got Mutant Football League 2, the sequel to the football game that came out a handful of years ago, based as a successor to Mutant League Football back in the old days. They got a sequel with more stuff going on there. And then the 12th, Code Violet. This is a third-person action horror game. They'll be coming to PS5. Yeah, looks neat, and yeah, that's pretty much it for December. Not a ton at the moment, but I'm sure we'll have more stuff announced here as we get closer to December. But yeah, Brandon, anything here you're interested in?
Probably the big one is Metroid Prime 4. Because let's be honest, I've been anticipating that game for many years now, and I'll finally get a chance to play it. Also, Octopath Traveler 0 also looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
How about you, Danner?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat. I know that this list looks small, but in my opinion, this month is actually more stacked than November, which is actually interesting because typically games in December are just let out to die. But when we're talking about Nintendo, that simply isn't true. And the other thing about December is that none of these games are going to qualify for the Game Awards because I believe that their cutoff is like November 20-something. So that's another reason why companies typically like to avoid December. But yeah, I echo Brandon. Metroid Prime 4 is probably my most anticipated game in this lineup. It's been a long time coming, and it'll be interesting seeing how they actually pull it off. I mean, the last trailer showed like what looked like an open world. I don't know how that would work for Metroid, but it also seems like the logical step forward. So we'll see. Octopath Traveler 0, I'm a little less excited for because I haven't played the second one. But when I previewed this one at PAX, like it's just as good, with the main thing being that there's a city builder mechanic that I'm not typically a fan of, but the actual combat and the actual combat is very Octopath, and that's definitely what makes me look forward to it. Except that if this ends up being like an 80-hour game, that's tough to do in December, especially with the focus on the Game Awards and our own Game of the Year awards, and that's typically what we want to focus on. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As for me, yeah, I'll probably check out Metroid Prime 4. I'm looking forward to that, though I'm still not 100% sure about the way that game is set up. It seems like there's open world kind of thing going on, but maybe that's not exactly how it looks in the last trailer we saw. I don't know, but yeah, I want to check it out. I'd be remiss saying that I haven't really checked out any of the Metroid Prime games beyond the first one. You know, I own them all. I think 3 was the game I had pre-ordered for my Wii, and then pre-ordered at GameStop, and I never picked it up. So just use the credit later for something else. So that's my lasting memory of Metroid Prime 3. But yeah, not really much here else here. I might check out Octopath Traveler 0 at a sale. But other than that, I don't know if there's anything else here for me. But yeah, let's end the show here unless you guys have anything else to add.
Nope.
All right.
Other than the fact that it's going to be a really stacked autumn this year.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Brandon and Danner, for joining this week.
Always.
Yep.
If you enjoy the show, let friends and family know they should check it out and select strangers that are also interested in the onslaught of games that are coming for us. Because even though I may not feel like it, I definitely did not include a bunch of games that I could have on these lists. There's still even more outside of what I mentioned here. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next time. So yeah, have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.